Let's see here. Amazing Digital Circus video is done, finale has been watched, theory was wrong, but like I said in the video, I'm fine with being wrong. Script for possible December video is coming along nicely. Hey there, friends and fictional folk! Yes, today is Bionicle Day, also known as my annual hyperfixation day. That's right, when I was a kid, my life basically revolved around Bionicle. Well, that and a few other things. But Bionicle was the big one. And I know I'm not alone. In the past year or two, I've seen a resurgence of talk about Bionicle, particularly here on YouTube. And being the Bionicle fan I am, I obviously want to throw my hat into the ring. But I don't want to do just another lore video. There are plenty out there already, and if you've got half a day to kill, I recommend checking some of those out. No, instead, I want to talk about something else that has been discussed a million times. Why the reboot failed. For those of you who don't know, the first generation of Bionicle toys ran from 2001 all the way to 2010. Then, 5 years later, LEGO decided to reboot the franchise. It sucked and only lasted 2 years. But why do I want to talk about something that has already been talked about? You know, other than the fact that I am a hopeless windbag and this is my hyperfixation. It's because as good as the videos about this topic are, none of them, as far as I've seen, have touched on the core reason why I think G1 Bionicle blew up like it did, and why G2 crashed and burned so hard. Now to be clear, I'm not talking in terms of toy sales. I don't know how well G2 sold, and I frankly don't care. I'm talking about why it failed as a story. And for that, we need to look at why G1 worked. So, gathered friends, listen once again to our tale of the Bionicle. In the time before time, also known as the year 2001, kids going to McDonald's started finding some very strange toys in their Happy Meals. These toys weren't the usual Happy Meal fare. Most Happy Meal toys were bright, colorful, smiling, cartoony characters from established franchises. And while these toys were certainly colorful, they weren't smiling. Instead, their robotic faces were covered by stern, serious masks, and they had to be assembled and could be reassembled into all new arrangements. These weren't one-and-done plastic trash fillers. These were something else. These were the Matoran. And before anyone comes for me, yes, I know they were called the Tahunga at the time, but the fandom lovingly calls them the Mechtoran, and I will be using the post-Mallory lawsuit names out of respect. Listen, I love this franchise, but it is far from perfect. Anyway, the instructions these Matoran came with had a picture of a strange, photorealistic island, half of which was covered by a menacing, glowing mask. And below these, promising more, was a website, Bionicle.com. So, 6-year-old me booted up the family computer, typed in the website, and saw that there was something called the Mata Nui online game. Well, I liked games, and I didn't need to download anything for it, so I clicked play and... I was hooked! This was the moment Bionicle went from being a curiosity to my lifelong obsession. This introductory cutscene is so good, I could probably make an hour-long video analyzing it and the Mata Nui online game as a whole if I had the money to pay my editor for a video that long. Oh, by the way, if you want to play this game yourself, now that the website's down, I recommend checking out the Biomedia project. I'll leave some links in the description. Anyway, without a single line of written or spoken dialogue, and a minimal amount of visuals, this intro tells its audience of children everything they need to know while drawing them in with a desire to know more. And, most importantly, it doesn't talk down to them. It trusts its audience to pick up on the symbolism, to pay attention and figure things out themselves. It gives you all the pieces and trusts you to put them together. That kind of trust, along with the ominous music and visuals, was something I'd never experienced before in my then very short life, and it had me absolutely enthralled. I wanted to know more. I needed to know more. So, I played the game, and was immediately confronted by more mysteries. What is this canister? Who is that by the boat? What is that thing at the top of the cliff? And each mystery had an answer that led to even further mysteries. What is that red comet I can see through the telescope? And what do those symbols mean? What's a Gakoro? What's a Rahi? Okay, give me a second. I need to check out these footprints and... What the f*** was that? Is what my little 6-year-old mind thought, though obviously without the swearing. That was one of the most threatening things I'd ever seen in my life. And it was awesome! I tried to follow but couldn't, and so I turned around to help Maku here with whatever was going on at her village. And slowly, I began to piece things together. There wasn't just lore to figure out, but a language. A language you, the player, had to learn by writing down these symbols and figuring stuff out from context clues. Like here, when you reach the gates to this village, there's 2 letters, a space, then 4 letters. But Maku already told you this place is called Gakoro, so you can figure out the symbols for G, A, K, O, and R. But what does Gakoro mean? There's a Gawahi, a Gakoro, and a Gali. So, clearly, Ga means something. Well, this is a watery area, and when you go to Po-Wahi, it's a rocky, deserty area. So Ga means water, and Wahi means region or area, and Koro means village. And so you build out your alphabet and your vocabulary until you're practically speaking the language of this strange island inhabited by robot people. Yes, I know now they're biomechanical, but I don't think anyone knew that particular bit of lore at 6. To most kids, they were robot people and robot animals living on an otherwise very natural-looking island. A lush but menacing island where the big bad had won, and you had to try and stop him by solving the island's mysteries. It was a strange contrast that invited even more questions. And that, I believe, was the key to Bionicle G1's success. Mystery and menace. The villains of the story weren't just cartoon bad guys twirling their mustaches and laughing maniacally. They were legitimately threatening. People died thanks to their machinations, and if you didn't solve the mystery of how to stop them, then everyone was going to die. It dared to challenge its audience and frighten them. Hell, even the heroes could be scary. That fire guy you saw in the cutscene? Yeah, he's one of the good guys. And by solving the mysteries and collecting the toys, you could build your own heroes and save the day. But there was always another mystery to draw you in, another menace to face. And that's where Generation 2 failed. To illustrate my point, let's take a look at the first few seconds of the first webisode released for the reboot.
A long time ago...
Stop. Already, you have failed. Bionicle G1 was hardly the pinnacle of realistic world building, but at least the island of Mata Nui looked realistic. Each region, each Wahi, bled into each other naturally, and you couldn't even see Onu Wahi because it was underground, which made sense for the Onu Matorans because their element was Earth. This thing? This just looks lazy. But okay, maybe the map isn't the best. That's just set dressing after all. This is a new generation with brand new molds. Surely, we'll get all sorts of creative new masks like we did with each new wave of G1 and everyone looks exactly the same. Seriously? Your whole story revolves around mask makers, and you have all the Matoran, the Akotans, the exact same mask. Say what you will about G1 Matoran having copy-pasted body shapes. At least the different masks gave them each a sense of personality. But the Akotans? Every single one of them is indistinguishable from any of the others in their tribe. And speaking of the story, that is where the mystery and menace really go to die. Instead of the big bad Makuta being presented as an eldritch god of destruction and darkness like he is in G1, in G2 he's just a guy. Sure, he's a powerful mask maker, but he's also just a guy who had to be sealed away by Akimu, who's also just another guy. And Makuta's minions? Do we get corrupted Rahi, or rampaging Borok, or powerful Rakshi? No, we get the Skull Army full of skull creatures, named things like Skull Basher and Skull Slicers. So Say what you want about the simplicity of Bionicle G1's alphabet and language, but at least it had those things. And I'd argue that's another reason it was successful. You weren't just buying the Elder of the Fire Village, you were buying Vakama, the Turaga of Takoro. You weren't just killing giant wasps and giant scorpions, you were battling Nui Rama and Nui Jaga. You didn't just have crabs, you had Manus crabs. What's a Manus? I don't know, but I want to find out. It builds interest. This is basic storytelling and marketing. You need to hook your audience, because when your audience feels rewarded for asking questions and exploring your setting, they are more likely to keep engaging with it. I'm not intimidated by something called a skull creature. Sure, the name is edgy, but it's got no pizzazz, no flavor, nothing that makes it unique. At least the skull-themed spiders in The Legend of Zelda are called Skulltula instead of just skull spiders. And even if these things were intimidating, the heroes had a singular home base they could always retreat to where the bad guys couldn't reach them, rather than living among the people they protect in the villages that were under near constant threat of attack. G2 had no teeth, no bite, no mystery, and no menace. And don't even get me started on the Toa. In G1, their personalities were straightforward but distinct, and clashed with each other in fun ways. Pohatu was friendly and outgoing, but his best friend was the cold and quiet Kopaka, who in turn clashed constantly with the stubborn and hot-headed Tahu. Meanwhile, calm and wise Onua was good friends with both the excitable Lewa and steady Gali, but struggled to keep the peace between the rest of his teammates. In G2, hey guys, let's go fight the skull creatures with the power of friendship while sticking firmly to the most basic character archetypes like the big guy being dumb and making silly jokes all the way and only occasionally butting heads. Cut back to G1. My brother in Mata Nui, if you do not get your head out of the gears in your rear and help me fight this thing, we are all going to die. Basically, LEGO tried and failed to make Bionicle G2 into Ninjago, but with robots.
Kai versus Jay. Ninja, go!
But here's the thing. Ninjago works because it was built from the ground up with the dynamics and tone it has in mind from the start. Bionicle is not Ninjago. Bionicle cannot be Ninjago. Ninjago is silly quips and Jackie Chan style martial arts, with some emotional beats sprinkled in for flavor. That works for Ninjago. It does not work for Bionicle, especially when the effort is half-ass.
Ha ha ha. Don't fight. We still need a leader.
Bionicle is dangers around every corner. It's puzzles that lead to even deeper mysteries. It is the desperate struggle to survive in a world where God is asleep and the devil won. But it's easy for me to stand here and tell you how badly LEGO fumbled the Bionicle reboot. As an author, I can tell you that creating something and critiquing something are two very different beasts, and rebooting such a beloved franchise as Bionicle is no easy feat. I do not envy the task set before the creatives assigned to Generation 2. Actually, that's a lie. I would love to have been part of the team in charge of rebooting Bionicle. Which is sort of what I'll be doing. Next year, after a big video project I'm hoping to get done in time for December, I plan on filming a series of videos detailing how I would reboot the story of Bionicle for a new generation. Yes, I know Noah Greenspan announced he was going to be doing something similar, but come on, who's going to complain about more Bionicle fan content? I look forward to watching his video, and I hope you all are excited to see what I might do differently with my own reboot. Or rather, my rebuild. Until next time,